Hey bookworms, welcome back to the channel and welcome if you're new here. I'm Sam and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys every single fantasy book that's on my TBR. So I asked over on my community page on YouTube what you guys wanted to see. Anyway, so I asked over on my community page if you guys would like to see some summer reads, if you'd like to see my fancy books on my TBR, or if you'd like to see every single book on my TBR, and they were all pretty even. So I'm going to do all of them, not in this video, but in the next month to come. I thought I'd start off with though every fantasy book on my TBR just because it seems like the less daunting. I mean, technically the summer reads one was less daunting, but yeah, I don't know. I just chose to do this one and I've got about 37 books here and that's just fantasy, so this makes me even more nervous now to do every book on my TBR. I now know that it's probably going to be way over 50 and that terrifies me, but I really want to do it to see how many I have got. I am sticking to this whole not buying any books in June apart from my fairy loot book obviously, and I'm really trying to stick to that, but every time we go out I always go to the bookstore just to look or go to like the book aisles in supermarkets, and the other day I literally go in and I pick up 2 books and I'm like, I think we're halfway through doing food shopping, I was like, you know what, no, let's put these back because I can't buy them, I don't need them, let's put them back. So fingers crossed we stick to that, otherwise my TBR by the time I get to it's going to be even bigger and that's really scary. Let's just jump straight into the books. I'm not going to give too much detail on them obviously because we're going to be here all day. This is the sole purpose to just show you guys what books on my TBR that are fantasy. You guys will have to let me know in the comments if you read any of these. Are they on your TBR? How many do you have on your TBR? Maybe make me feel less bad because 37 fantasy books is a lot. But yeah, let's just jump straight into it. I'm just grabbing them. I'm just going to grab it random from the pile here and try not to squish my cat because he's sort of like led right in the middle of these books that are sort of propped up. So if he moves too much, they're going to fall or he's going to get crushed. So yeah, first book is first one we have is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride. This book I got because everyone was talking about it and it's still sitting on my shelf, but we're going to get to it one day. Then we have Rule of Wolves and King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo, and also by Leigh Bardugo we have Ruin and Risen. This is the last book in the Shadow and Bone series that I really want to get to as soon as possible. Then we have Little Feast, another book that's been on my shelf for way too long. I have attempted to read this one twice. I'm going to give it one last go. Fingers crossed I end up loving it. Next up is the sequel in a series, and that is The Monarchs. This is the sequel to The Ravens. This is about witches. Then we have 3 books by V.E. Schramm. I'm so saying that name wrong. And that is The Darker Shade of Magic series. So we have The Darker Shade of Magic, A Gathering of Shadows, and then A Conjuring of Light. Then we have A Winter's Promise. This book has been on my shelf I feel like the longest, and I think this is a series as well. Most fantasy books seem like they're a series. Next up we have Curse of the Wolf King. I think this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I could be wrong, but I do believe it is that. Next up is another sequel, and that is Daughter of the Siren Queen. I am actually going to be reading this one this month as I'm taking part in Once Upon a Readathon, so this one fits in with the little theme that's going on, so this is going to get read. Then we have Afterlife. I believe this is paranormal fantasy. I feel like this kind of fits in with the fantasy, so I decided to include it. This next one I was a bit unsure if I should include it or not, and I'm not too sure, but I'm going to include it just in case. The Mad Woman's Ball. I believe this is fantasy. I will have to double check, but I'm going to just include it because I think it is. Then we have another book that's another series, and that is The Last Magician. I am really excited to start this one, but I don't want to start too many new series, which I've already failed at, so this is why it's still on the list. Then we have another book that I'm hopefully going to be reading this month because a lot of us people in the readathon are planning to read it, and that is The Stardust Thief, which has been on my shelf for a while, so honestly it'd be about time that I got this. The next book that I'm actually starting, which is my fairy loot book for last month, I think. Yeah, for last month. So I am actually planning to read this one. I'm starting it today, and that is The Divine Rivals. This book is honestly gorgeous. If you follow me on my Instagram, you'll get to see what it looks like inside as well. Another fairy loot book we have, and that is 7 Faceless Saints. Now, this one I have actually already tried to read, and I got to about 50 pages in before I put it back down. I am going to try and read this one more time before I do give up on it. Then we have Spin The Dawn, which is, I believe, a series. I enjoyed this author's book, Six Crimson Cranes. So yeah, I thought I'd give this one a try. I only bought the first one though, just in case I end up not liking it. I actually managed to stick to that and not be crazy and go and just purchase them all. Then we have another book that's been on my shelf for a long time. That is Spinning Silver, and this one I saw talked about a lot back in the day. Like, so this one I got because I'm a massive fan of the movie, and I have pop vinyls. And I sort of did the school play as well for it, and that is The Labyrinth by June Henson. The fact that I've not even read this yet is a little bit embarrassing. Then we have Ray Bear. I believe this is a series, I could be wrong. I've heard nothing but good things about this book as well, so yeah, some touch point in the future, right? Another book that I attempted to read last month and then just decided I wasn't in the mood, and that is The Sister's Brim. I absolutely love this cover, it is so beautiful. That is honestly such a pretty cover. Next up is Wendy Darling. Then we have The Bone Shard's Daughter, and I know this one's definitely a series. I think there's like another 3 books in the series. Then we have The Mirror Season. Next up is The Bone House. Gothic Hannah, which I honestly was super excited to read when I first got this, so the fact that it's still sitting here unread is a little bit embarrassing. Next up is One Dark Window. This one I think is a Mulan retelling, and this one is She Who Became the Sun. I absolutely love this cover, it's gorgeous. Next up is a book that everybody's pretty much read at this point, and I still haven't, but I am reading it next month. Like 100% guarantee I will be reading this book next month, and that is House of Sky and Breath. I believe she's making, doing the 3rd book in the series, which comes out this year. So I really do need to actually read this one as soon as possible. It's kind of embarrassing, I haven't read that yet. The next 3 books are historical fiction with a hint of fantasy, which is why I'm including them, and that is My Lady Jane, My Plain Jane, and My Imaginary Mary. These books are sort of like reimagined with happier endings for these characters who are these very famous women back in history, like for example Mary Stuart, which I already read, and in that one she could turn into a mouse, so it's like a fantasy aspect that's put onto the character, like these women, and it makes it like really different and a lot of fun. If you've not read these, highly recommend going and picking them up, although I've only read one. Then we have For the Wolf. Again, this is a series. Fantasy books are just always series, but For the Wolf, still not got to this one yet. Really need to. And now we have the final book, which is the 2nd book in the series, and that is Miss Raw. This is the sequel to Malice, which is like a Sleeping Beauty retelling where you're kind of following the villain's point of view. I absolutely loved it, so the fact that this again is still sitting here is rather embarrassing. All of the fantasy books that I have, there's about 37 books here. If I think about it, isn't bad, because if I was to do this with romance, I feel I'm not even going to talk about that, because I feel like there's a lot more on my shelf that are romance that I've read. Don't ask me to do that, because I don't want to see how many books there are. I mean, technically you guys voted for me to do every single book on my TBR, which means I'm going to have to do that. I'm nervous. So yeah, anyway, these are all the fantasy books I have. I don't feel like 37 is like horrendous, but it is still a lot considering that this is just one genre. You have to let me know if you've read any of these books, if any of these books are on your TBR. Let me know if your fantasy TBR is longer than mine, because it might make me feel a little bit better, you know. Anyway, if you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and turn on the notification bell so you get alerted to when I next upload. And until next time, bye!